Welcome back, everybody. It has been a hot minute, but if you want to talk football, you came to the right place because we talk football all the time. This is Brad and Kyle. This is Blitz and Kick. Let's go ahead and jump right in, Kyle. We've missed so much, so I feel like we have to start out with the best stuff that we have, which is in the trenches. What's the first thing that's up this week, Kyle?
Yes, best will be subjective to the listeners out there, because the first topic is the Swifties are overtaking the NFL. I wouldn't say it's the most interesting topic, but it probably is the most highly talked about, highly debated. So we have to give our 2 cents as well. As we know, Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, and we've seen Taylor Swift with his mom. We've seen her in the stands and then in the booth with all the famous celebrities, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, all of them. And now, Brad, I don't know what you've seen, but it seems like there's a lot more viewership from the from women in general to the NFL because of Taylor Swift. Do you think, this is my question for you, because this is the question that I think about the most, is do you think this is all manufactured by the NFL to get women viewership, or do you think it's actually authentic?
Never thought about that, but yes. I detest it. I didn't mind it at first, but now when you watch a broadcast, I want to hear what's happening on the field. I don't want to hear about this person up in the sidelines talking about the team, all kinds of stuff. So Aaron Rodgers, I would really appreciate it if you'd stop coming to games. Sorry, Taylor Swift. Sorry. But no, I do hate it. I hate that we have to spend more time seeing who's out watching than the actual game, which that was a good game. Chiefs and Jets was a great game, which I don't think anyone expected.
Nope.
And we weren't talking about the game. We were looking at Taylor's reaction. Who's Taylor hanging out with? And oh, look, there's Taylor again. To the point where the NFL has literally even changed their cover photos to Taylor Swift. Like, stop. Stop it. You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
One thing that is kind of a benefit, though, is my wife rarely watches NFL football with me, or football in general, which is fine.
Yeah.
However, if it's the Chiefs game and I say, hey, Taylor Swift, is she going to be there? She sits down right next to me and follows along. So, for you men out there that have a special lady in your life that hates football but loves Taylor Swift, maybe you can spend some more quality time together. Because I know when it's football season, I definitely don't spend quality time for that 3 hours of me watching a game. I'm very engrossed into my TV. So, hey, we're killing two birds with one stone here, right? We're watching our football, but we're also getting quality time with our lady. So,
sure.
A little bit of both. Beyond that, that's aside, I want to talk about the Bears here. In the trenches, this segment, it's going to be the Bears versus the top of the draft. Because currently, Brad, they have two of the top picks in the draft. They have the Panthers pick, right? And they have their pick, 1 and 2, as it currently stands. And while that trade was good, I guess, they stink. I mean,
remains to be seen.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, we talked about last year when they traded for Chase Claypool. They might release him. I just saw a report they might cut him. They traded a second rounder, which is the top of the second, the very first overall pick in the second rounder, which is basically a first rounder. I think that was Joey Porter. So it was a player that's probably going to be half decent, right? And you trade him away for a player you're going to cut here probably. So they're a dumpster fire. I remember texting you during the preseason about Jalen Carter and about how the Bears were like, thank God we did not get him. We are so happy with Darnell Wright, and we have the D tackles, Gervin Dexter, Zach Pickens. Oh, we're fine. You're not. You're continuing to be a dumpster fire. And part of it's not the Bears' fault, right? Part of it is media's fault for elevating Justin Fields into a status that he should not have been at yet. And I was a defender of Justin Fields last year.
Yeah.
And I still think there's growing for him to do, and I don't think he's in the best situation, obviously. So a little bit's manufactured by the media, but also it's just Bears fans, and then the Bears franchise. I mean, we talk about all the time surrounding your quarterback with the best weapons possible. Their offensive line is bad. It's really bad, and their receivers, DJ Moore is a good deep threat, but I'm sorry, I don't think he is. I don't think he's AJ Brown over the middle type of guy. I don't think he's Mike Evans, over the middle type of guy, like a Kelsey, I know Kelseys don't grow on trees, but I don't think he is a for sure. It's 3rd and 5. I need to get to my receiver. I don't think that's DJ Moore's game. And so if it's just DJ Moore out there, and a bevy of okay running backs, a terrible offensive line, it's tough to watch. What do you think about the Bears right now?
I don't know if you remember this, but I had to go back and I read some stuff on Darnell Wright. I listened to what we had said about it. I was not a big fan of them taking Darnell Wright, which I was happy they took offensive line. I just thought there were better prospects because wasn't Broderick Jones still on the board at that point? And you took Darnell Wright. Skoronski was still on the board. There were better options besides Darnell Wright. And so far, a lot of the pressure that Darnell Wright has faced, he has not performed well in those situations. So between whiffing on draft picks, picking up DJ Moore, who's never been, like you said, he's never been the guy, and now he's expected to be the guy with a very young and struggling quarterback. It just doesn't seem – I don't see the big picture here for the Bears. I really don't. I don't see what you're building towards, what you're doing, active moves. Because you're right, going backwards, getting rid of Chase Claypool. You could have had Joey Porter Jr. You could have fixed things. Your secondary is okay, but it's not like –
What a player, that could have an impact, somewhere.
Yeah. I think it's good, though. I think tank at this point. And then you really get into the option, and I know you remember me making fun of this, is trade Fields and draft Bryce Young. But Bryce Young and Caleb Williams are not quite the same. I don't like Caleb Williams, but he is a very good quarterback. Very efficient, I should say, very efficient quarterback. And that's where Fields struggles the most and is his efficiency. Is 1 week he'll have those 4 passing touchdowns like he had against the Broncos. The other week he'll have 50 yards rushing and a couple picks. There's no efficiency, there's no dependability. I just don't see them pushing to win more. I would sub Fields out and bench him. Just tank. I mean, that's going really well for the Cards, but
yeah, I mean, there's options out there. You could trade Justin Fields to the Falcons, because we'll talk about the Falcons situation in a second. But I like what you said about DJ Moore. I think a lot of people would probably disagree with you and say, well, he's not he's been the guy. But I agree with you. I don't think he has been the guy. He hasn't had the expectations of a number 1 receiver, right? Like you said, he's now on the Bears. People were
even with Carolina.
Him. Yeah, I mean,
Carolina's biggest threat was McCaffrey.
Well, right, and they weren't even expected to do anything. They were kind of a middling team. Now, when you have Justin Fields, everyone's like, "Oh, he's a godsend. He's the best quarterback in the NFC and most talented." Bears did a lot of fancy moves. They got their number 1 receiver. Expectations are that you are a number 1 receiver and that you do things that people can't. And the only thing that they're doing, well, they're not doing anything well, really. So it's a tricky situation for Bears fans, because I think they want to believe in Justin Fields. How can you not? There are those physical traits there. But from the top down, management has been horrible. Coaching has been horrible. And I don't think Justin Fields, I don't think they're playing to his strengths. I mean, we look at Lamar Jackson, right? I mean, I get the whole injury thing. That's a concern. Same with Jalen Hurts. Same with Anthony Richardson. But when those guys are at their best, I've seen it with the Eagles this year. When they're at their best, it's when they can run the ball a little bit. And if you're taking that away from Justin Fields, he's an average passer right now. He is. So then you have a below average quarterback, which you're not going to go anywhere with. So, it's I want to make fun because of so many Bears fans and my mentions on X or on Twitter over the last couple months, for how highly they praised Justin Fields. Same with the Giants, by the way, who we're not talking about. but I'll throw that shot in too. Daniel Jones is overpaid and he's trash. Moving on. So don't put the
can I take one more pass
Yes.
at the Bears?
Yeah.
I will say DJ Moore gets a lot more valuable to me if they do keep those top two and you bring in Marvin Harrison.
Mhm.
Suddenly DJ Moore is a better supporting cast
sure.
member than he is to be the number one guy. So I kind of like the position they're in.
Yeah. I mean that could work out really well. As Harrison's number one, DJ is number two. But yeah, offensive line is a mess, right? We talked about that. Defense is obviously a mess as well. They're injury prone and got a lot of things going on. So tough time to be a Bears fan. Moving on though to another famous topic here is our rookie quarterback update. And we're doing this versus the second year quarterback update. Very different classes, right? Last year's quarterback class, we all thought was dookie, he was garbage, like no one cares about him, right? It's interesting now. This year's quarterback class, we got Levis, and we got Richardson, and we got Stroud and Bryce Young, and so many different topics and so many different views on these quarterbacks. Brad, I want to talk about first the second-year quarterbacks. That is Kenny Pickett, Brock Purdy, Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell, and Malik Willis. How have things changed in your mind with some of these guys?
There are only two people that I'm high on. Tim, if you're watching this, I apologize ahead of time. You know that I can't stand Kenny Pickett. I don't believe in Pickett. I really don't. You have the weapons. The offensive line is questionable, but at least they're improved. They're making moves. But you should be doing more, especially when all preseason everybody could talk about every time he's touched the ball, it's a touchdown. Every drive, every time he's got the ball. Where is it? Brock Purdy, on the other hand, is a pleasant surprise. I thought he was washed. I thought he was done. I thought he was a one-time thing. He's performed really well, which you and I both agree that has more to do with the system than it does with Brock Purdy. But Purdy has played his role very well, and I'm impressed with Purdy. Sam Howell. I'm also impressed with Sam Howell. He has made good use of his weapons. He's had some rough games. He had a 4-pick performance, which is that's rough, but it's his first year starting. He does play for Washington. Washington has gone through so many quarterbacks looking for the guy. And honestly, I believe Sam Howell is a better Taylor Heineke. That's kind of where I'm at with Sam Howell. He's not going to be Tom Brady. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be some of these guys that last to their 30s and 40s and a long time. But he'll be a decent piece for them for a while, and that's all he has to be. It's kind of similar with Purdy. Bieniemy has found a really good way to utilize the weapons that they already have, that they had, which should, I think, speak more to the quarterbacks they've had previously. But Sam Howell, I'm impressed. A lot of these second-year quarterbacks are turning, but I'd say it's kind of 50-50 on second-year quarterbacks.
Yeah. What about Desmond Ridder?
I don't believe in Ridder. I think he's just a placeholder until he gets something else. He's okay, but he makes a lot of mistakes. And you shouldn't. When you have Kyle Pitts, you have Bijan Robinson. Your whole job is to hand the ball off. That's it.
Yeah. Falcons have done I think a pretty bad job of accumulating
overvaluing.
Weapons. What's that?
Overvaluing Ridder.
Yeah, for sure. But also like getting these weapons and then not using them. Yeah. You're gonna tell me you draft Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and you don't get them the ball? Like what?
Hashtag free Pitts.
I don't like Johnny Smith has gotten more fantasy points than Kyle Pitts. Come on.
Yeah,
like what are we doing here? There has to that's annoying. That's another time. But I agree with probably all of your takes there. I agree, Kenny Pickett. A lot of Steelers fans are already turning on him. I'm not surprised. And also, guys, remember, preseason doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you look like horse crap, if you look amazing, it doesn't matter at all. I watched Sam Bradford look like a god in preseason when he played for the Eagles, and he was a trash bag. It doesn't matter at all. Brock Purdy, Brad, you know that I had a disagreement with a gentleman about Brock Purdy last year. And I'm still holding my stance that you should not compare him to Tom Brady. That's asinine. That's still stupid, and I stand by that. However, he came back from his injury, and he does look good. And I'll give him that credit, and I'll give him he has Shanahan, right? Most quarterbacks, I guess except for Trey Lance, look good. So yeah, he's doing well too. How about
I actually had lambasted somebody on Twitter about Joe Burrow.
Okay.
I've left those tweets up after the season so far because they are aging like fine wine, and it's just that's a whole nother. Never mind. Anyways, the point is, if Kyle and I make a take on Twitter, 90% of the time we have a point of where we're going with it. 10% of the other time we're probably just fighting with people just because. Anyways, the last one. Do you mind if I take the last one? Because I saw this and I got really excited. So our last one is going to be Colorado versus the haters. I get it. Deion's a big personality. Deion's a little cocky. I get it. You want to hate him. There were a bunch of coaches that helped Oregon game plans so that they could beat Colorado. And I thought that was the end of it. I thought, okay, Deion had a cute little run. Maybe he'll make a run for a bowl game or something. However, where they really impressed me, no Travis Hunter, relying on very young receivers, and almost put USC in their place. That spoke a lot to me. And I understand that there are haters everywhere of Colorado. I understand that there are going to be haters because it's Deion. I understand there's going to be haters because they're not a top-tier program. I understand there's going to be haters because, well, you just abuse the portal. That's what the portal's there for at this point. That's literally what it's there for. I have problems with none of that. I have problems with people that have problems with Deion. I fully believe in what he's doing. I think he cleaned out that department like he needed to, because if you notice the guys that are there, they want it. And it makes you question, did the previous class just not want it enough? Because they've won some impressive games. And they almost, and I'll keep saying it, they almost beat USC and the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams. That is impressive to me. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to see it on ESPN. I don't want to see it on Twitter. Deion's doing his thing. And you took 2 losses to the hardest programs in the Pac-12. He could easily still win out and go 10-2.
Yeah, I mean, I think here's where I'm at is I don't love everything that he's done. Obviously, I think I've probably stated that before.
Yeah.
But like, just let him do his job. You know what I mean? Like and it's not his fault. He does relish the fact that like he is in front of the camera, but that's not really his fault. I am tired of seeing all this Colorado talk just because like you have to let them actually play. You know what I mean? Like it's more about the arguments, more about the talk and the swag and all of this rather than actually playing it on Saturdays. And I think if Deion would have it, like it's more about the game, like showing up to the game, which other than Oregon, you know, they have showed up. So like, I'm with you. I think he's done a good job. I think he's going to continue to do well in this ever changing business. And it is a business and it is ever changing. It's going to continue to change. And remember, like when we get to the playoffs here soon, it's going to be what, 8, 12 teams at some point. Like, he's going to have his chances to get in. I'm sure of it. However, the one thing that I wanted to pull back a little bit on is like he's not going to have his son as quarterback all the time. And Shador has been very, very impressive. And that's very hard to find in college. It's a good quarterback. So, like, watch out for that. Maybe he can get one in the portal eventually, you know, for years to come. But that's a possibility. But I would also argue it's not very easy for portal quarterbacks to just succeed. I don't think we've seen a lot of instances of it. Even this past year, Bryce Young wasn't, Richardson wasn't, Will Levis was, but even him, he wasn't that. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to do. So like have a very good first year. It's impressive what he's done. I just wish the media in general would shut up about it and just let them play, because I think it's what football is. Like, I mean, I get part of football is the talk and the lead up to Saturday or the lead up to Sunday and the fans smashing heads, butting heads, and showing each other out. I get that's a part of it, but just let them play, see how they do, and then like make your argument, make your assumptions, make your whatever subjective media, whatever garbage you want to throw out, just like do it after the fact, because we're a third of the way through the season. Like we really don't know everything about this team or about the staff or about this program. Like it's still so early. Again, doing a good job so far, but like let's just Let's just see where it goes. Next up is the Gridiron Gang. We have a couple guys that we want to add to our squad. One guy, Brad, that I've just been super, super impressed with, Devin Achane. 309 yards, 6 total touchdowns. I have him in my sleeper league, and I forgot to put him in the last 2 weeks, like an idiot.
Nice.
Shows you how much I've been paying attention to fantasy. I mean, he's been incredible, Brad. What do you think of Devin Achane so far?
Yeah, the Dolphins really needed it. I'm sorry, Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, they're fine. They're okay. They could be starters anywhere, but it's not like you're pulling Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry. Like, they're not generational running backs. So it's kind of nice for the Dolphins to have an explosive and fast guy. I believe that we didn't have him on our radar players to watch, but we certainly did talk about him to an extent, about how he could be really beneficial for a team going forward. We weren't sure that the Dolphins were a good fit, but hey, if you can beat the guy in front of you and look good, have at it. And that's what he's done consistently.
Yeah, just running by people. I mean, that offense is so explosive, and you get Tyreek Waddle going down the field, it stretches out your defense, right? And if you can get by the first level, I mean, with the speed that he has, I mean, it's definitely doable, and doable for him to continue to put up these big numbers. I don't think he's going to continue to average 11.4 yards per carry, but
no.
Still, through 4 weeks, you're doing that? Wow.
How dare you leave out Durham Smythe? He is the most dangerous weapon on that team.
Durham Smythe. Well, I don't – Notre Dame product. Yeah. I'm sure he's helped in some ways. But, overall, he's – I wasn't sure how he was going to do in the NFL because he was smaller, right? A little bit smaller, a little bit leaner. Maybe couldn't take the physical hits of an NFL game all the time. However, if you're getting the ball 9 times a game, getting over 100 yards, and then just running by people, well, then you can last probably quite a while if you're not getting hit. Our next guy here is Nico Collins. The Michigan product really has done a great job this year for the Texans so far. 428 yards, 3 touchdowns. Looked very dominant against the Steelers this last Sunday. He's almost eclipsed his career high in yards for a season, and it's been 4 weeks.
I've almost traded for him at least 3 times in fantasy now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good pickup. It seems like CJ loves throwing to him. I think part of it, too, maybe you disagree, I just think it's been CJ Stroud, playing his game. I mean, he hasn't had the perfect supporting cast. His offensive line has been very, very beat up, and it was supposed to be one of the better offensive lines in the AFC. And so far, it's been very, very beat up, but he's hanging in there. He's taking hits. He's running around more than he did in college, and he's delivering on-time, accurate balls. What do you think so far of the CJ Stroud and Nico Collins connection?
Well, first of all, a great connection. I think if Brandon Cooks were in that role, he'd be doing the same. I think it has less to do with the receiver, and it has way more to do with how Stroud is playing. I was very critical on Stroud. I was very critical on Ohio State quarterbacks. It's still very early. Let's say that before I continue. But Stroud actually looks like he's adapting the best out of probably any Ohio State quarterback we've seen for the past 10 years. He's understanding the game. I had told you before, I think DeMeco Ryans as a head coach was going to be chef's kiss. Sure enough, the defense looks astounding, specifically Will Anderson. He's going to be a generational talent for that defense for a long time. But yeah, Stroud and Nico Collins both look good. Tank Dell, it was kind of disappointing to see this past week, but I still think he's going to be able to carve himself out as a wide receiver too in that offense. But yeah, 2 really good players. Achane, we've talked about before. I'm glad that we're adding him to this. There's no takes that I disagree with you on.
Next is Sleeper Seekers. And this guy, I mean, he might be a sleeper to some of you, and probably to some of you he's not. I don't think enough people are talking about him. I feel like people are talking about Drake May. People are talking about Caleb Williams, rightfully so. They're good quarterbacks, I think. But how about Michael Penix, the former Indiana Hoosier? I think in his freshman year, he's played since 2018. Brad, wow, he has played a while.
He's old.
No wonder he's so
Yeah.
good. Last year, 31 touchdowns versus 8 picks. This year, he's 74.7 completion percentage so far, 16 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He runs the ball very efficiently as well. Washington, man, I think with him at the helm right now, I think they are a sleeper along with Michael Penix for the playoff and for his Heisman bid. What do you think about Michael Penix?
I like Penix. I've been concerned for him going to the Pac-12 because it's not particularly the most talent-filled of all the conferences. I thought he had a better chance of staying in the Big Ten to win a championship, but I've been proven way wrong. Rome Odunze is really good. Oh my gosh, who's on the other side of him? Is it Jalen McMillan? Is that the other receiver? Yeah. Both of them are astounding. Penix has just been able to find everybody in space. I watched the Michigan State and Washington game, and boy, he absolutely obliterated Michigan State's defense. It was impressive. I like Penix. I'm glad that he's on this list. And I think he has a good chance to win the Heisman if he keeps playing how he is. Caleb Williams, beware.
Yeah. McMillan, like you said, Polk and Rome Odunze, all been very productive for them this year. The running game really hasn't been crazy good. I guess it doesn't really need to be when you can throw the ball like that. So, very good. Very good player. I'm very impressed by him. Next up is our Draft Brew segment. Only two of us today. Only 3 picks. We're assembling the best defensive line, let's go defensive line, linebacker, secondary combo, and mess that up a little bit, that we can draft, and we'll see who has the better 3-man team. We just wanted something fun to do really quick, something easy.
Do I get to go first this time?
Absolutely. You can go first. That's fine.
Great. I'm going to make you mad. Micah Parsons.
Oh, you bum. All right.
Now, does he count as linebacker or D-line?
He can count as whatever you want him to count as. I think that would be fair.
I'll put him at linebacker.
Linebacker? Okay. Okay, so I have 2 back-to-back picks here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to take Myles Garrett for sure.
100%.
I think that's a given. And then my next guy is going to be – I'm going to take Sauce Gardner. I think that's fine. Yeah.
I like that.
Sauce.
Okay. Let's see. I have Micah Parsons. I'm going to throw you off here. I'm going to take a white boy. I'm going to take Aiden Hutchinson.
Interesting.
Which, if he wouldn't get held as much as he would, if he does, he'd have so many sacks.
That's true.
And then it's my pick again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secondary. Who do I want in the secondary? I'll take old man Jalen Ramsey. No, I'm kidding. This is hard. It's between 2 Alabama guys that are really good in the secondary. I'm going to take Pat Surtain.
Pat Surtain. That's a good pick. One of the best in the game.
Not looking like it, but yeah.
Well,
I think it's the defense as a whole, not him.
That whole team's been really bad.
Yeah.
Our final pick, I'm going to go Fred Warner, Yeah, I think that's just the best linebacker in the league. My pen doesn't work. That's all right. All right, so Brad's team is Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, and Pat Surtain. And mine is Myles Garrett, Sauce Gardner, and
Fred Warner.
Gosh, I already forgot who it was. That's our team. Overall, though, I want to talk about just the best defenders in the game along with this segment. I feel like we're kind of seeing like some of the best pass rushers in the game right now with Micah, with Myles Garrett, with T.J. Watt. Aiden Hutchinson might be up there here pretty soon. Like we're watching a lot of studs. It seems like, and all like pretty young in their career too, which is fun and impressive to see. How do you feel about this group of pass rushers that we have right now?
I like them. It actually makes Sunday bearable because it's not just, oh, I'm going to sit back in the pocket for 3 years and throw. There's pressure. We've seen a lot of sacks this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've liked it. I think the only thing that irritates me about young pass rushers is we're seeing a lot of tackles resort to moving before the whistle and kind of getting that edge. So we're seeing less sacks because they have more time to prep and be grounded for the pass rusher. And I think that's kind of taken away some of the fun for me. It really irritated me with Lions Chiefs. They were not calling anything on Jawan Taylor in game one. And I was like, And then to the point where J.J. Watt even made a video talking about it and said, it's just the way it is. Like you can get a little bit of an edge, but that's blatant. The ref should have been calling it all night. I think a rule change is probably in the pipeline somewhere because we're missing out on a lot of really good performances that we could have. Unless you're the Giants offensive line, and then obviously you can just have a sack every play if you want. So
there's been a lot of holding that has not been called this year.
Yes.
Like so much. Like I understand it's a hard job for both the defensive end, pass rusher, and offensive lineman. And I understand that in real time it's hard for referees to see everything, but some of it's just so blatant. I mean, it's like they're choke holding the guy, and I think part of it is like, well, we don't want the quarterback to get hit every play. Well, sucks to suck. The team didn't gather a good enough group of offensive linemen, or they've abandoned the run game. Like that's what happened. So, I hope they can continue to fix that because there are so many really good pass rushers inside and out that I think are not getting their due because linemen
bad calls
holding them, and if you're not getting those hits or sacks because you're getting held, then no one's talking about you, right? Like that's just That's how it works.
It's true.
So let's take out the trash as our next segment here. And did you want to take this? You want me to?
Go ahead.
I did watch the video.
I think you're more incensed on it than I am.
I shared the video with it, or with you. But Rodney Harrison, this last Monday night game, the Chiefs and the Jets. Sorry, Sunday night, right? Sunday night, Chiefs and Jets. Post game, Rodney Harrison is talking to Chris Jones from the Chiefs, and basically, I'm paraphrasing, he says, "How is it going up against a quarterback like Zach Wilson, someone that you can beat, someone that's trash basically, and that isn't very good? Like, how does it feel going up against someone like that?" It's just so. He called him garbage. That's right. He called him garbage. It's so insensitive, I think, especially for a guy that's played in the NFL, to go ahead and talk to on live TV another football player and call him garbage, call him trash. I understand he has not lived up to the hype. I get that. I understand he had a really bad fumble. However, I mean, it's the Jets. Like they haven't been good forever, right? It's hard for them to become an actual good football team. The Jets have struggled with surrounding Zach Wilson with talent until this year, but oops, they got Aaron Rodgers. And he performed horribly at the beginning of this game. And then, he looked like an actual quarterback. Like, he came around, and he looked good. Like, he looked really good against a Chiefs defense that's, top 5 in the league right now in terms of, stats and everything. Like, he did a good job. There's a lot of pressure on him. Imagine being the guy looking like crap. You're in your second year now, or whatever, third year, and Aaron Rodgers is now the starting quarterback. I mean, it's, takes a little bit of pressure off of you, but ultimately it's like, okay, they didn't believe in me to be the guy. That's why they went out and got Aaron Rodgers. But then having to sit beside him, behind him, and then coming to the game after Aaron Rodgers is hurt, like it's a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of mixed feelings for the guy. Like I feel bad for him, and I know he's trying his best. It's not like he's given up. Like he almost brought them back. And you could have argued they could have won the game if the refs weren't garbage. Like there was that very good chance, and we would be talking about him much differently if that if that wasn't called. So I feel bad for him, and I just think it was very insensitive for Rodney Harrison, who was a former player, to call him garbage on live TV. So
yeah,
I'm taking out the trash. I'm taking out Rodney Harrison. He's the trash bag. So
that's some good trash to take out. Let's hear from our sponsors, and we will be right back with you. Fresh Cuts is our amazing sponsor who has been with us since 2020. Fresh Cuts is the local barbershop hangout in Marion, Indiana. If you're looking for a full-service barber with excellent cuts and a welcoming atmosphere, contact Caleb Kemper for an appointment time through www.freshcutsbarbershop.com. Mondays are the best days to get in, although he has plenty of time slots available. And if you happen to miss us live, you'll be hearing us in the shop while you enjoy your fresh cut. Slide on by to Fresh Cuts to pick up some stylish footwear with Caleb's Fresh Kicks collection. From Nike to Jordans, he offers the best price for quality kicks. And if you don't find what you like, Caleb offers custom work for $250. Stop over to 1224 North Baldwin Ave in Marion to pick up yours today, or Caleb also ships all over the U.S. Message him for prices and sizes. Our other people we sponsor, Steve Wood Illustrations and Ronald Morell for Mayor, check out their respective pages on Facebook. And our other friends at other podcasts, the Culture Corner podcast, 1,000 Wives of Weird, and Rules of the Frame. Check them out on their respective platforms listed below. Let's hop right into the Blitz package, which if you don't know what the Blitz package is, it is our hot take segment. Kyle, I'm going to keep this really, really simple. Georgia should not be number one in the rankings. I am sorry. You cannot put together a poor performance against an unranked Auburn team, win by 7, and still be ranked number one when you've got Texas blowing out ranked teams. You've got Michigan blowing out the teams they're playing against. I agree that there's a very heavy SEC bias, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you that Georgia should not be there. Until you can take care of business, until you can take care of the penalties, until you can take care of just the bad broken plays that get bailed out by Brock Bowers, you should not be there. Speaking of which, Brock Bowers should be higher in the conversation for Heisman voting because he is carrying Georgia on his back right now. Kyle, do you agree that this isn't the Georgia team that we're used to seeing? They look vulnerable.
They do. I think it is a long season. And while I think Texas has looked impressive, I think they're all good teams. First of all, I just don't know yet. I think that's why these preseason rankings are a little bit ridiculous. Like it's so hard to tell with some of these teams how good or bad they're going to be. And while I think these 3 teams are good, I don't know if any of them will wind up as the number one team. Honestly, I don't. Like it could be Washington, right? It could be Oregon. Alabama could get up there. It could be Penn State. It could be Ohio State. It could be USC, even though their defense is horrible. So it might not be them. But there's other teams that I think can definitely grasp at the number one title. I don't think Georgia has been impressive for sure. I agree with you on that. I'd be fine if Texas was up there. I'd honestly be fine if Michigan was there too, because even though they haven't looked great, I think they showed last year that impressive wins aren't always. I think they're overvalued, and I just think winning is more important. So, they're winning 28-0, right? 35-7. That might not be the 70-point game that you're hoping for, but
they're solid.
You're still dominating the game, right? So I think that definitely translates. So, I'm not impressed with Georgia so far, but it's a long season. I think a lot of stuff can happen between now and the end of the season. So,
sure, that makes sense. Let's hop over to No Huddle. Kyle, would you explain what No Huddle is while I get us set up?
Yes. So No Huddle we are going to briefly talk about 3 topics in 60 seconds. Brad will take A, I'll take B, Brad will take C again. If we had 3 people, we would go A, B, C. So we're talking about 3 topics in 60 seconds. We each have 20 seconds to talk about our given topic. Brad, do you want to take Puka with the first topic?
I sure do. Let me start the timer. And here we go. Should Puka Nacua be the offensive rookie of the year? Absolutely. He is on pace to break Cooper Kupp's record from 2021. He's been consistent. Yes, he just got his first touchdown, but he has been everything you look for in an offensive rookie of the year. Looked for him to continue doing that even with Kupp returning.
Yeah, so Eagles or Niners, better 4-0 team. I think it's the Niners. Listen, the Eagles are still impressive. They still have good players. I don't think they looked as dominant as they did last year. The 49ers are just clicking in all cylinders right now, offensively and defensively. The Eagles have lost their OC and their DC. They're still trying to reclaim some of that magic, some of that consistency. Niners, better team.
Will Caleb Williams repeat as the Heisman? No, I don't think so. There's a lot of strong cases. Michael Penix, Brock Bowers, Drake May. The list goes on of many, many guys that could be there. And Caleb Williams has been impressive, but not Heisman worthy. We have never beaten that in 60 seconds.
Did you want to close it out with the immaculate grade or wheel of the field?
Let's do wheel of the field. I can pull that up easier. Okay. So what's our topic this week, Kyle?
So we're going to spin the wheel, and whatever team we land on, we're going to have to try to get more than 25 career sacks on the defense. So this might be a little bit easy depending on the team, right? We could up it by 25 if we wanted to, if it was too easy. So let's spin and figure out what team we have.
And it is the Steelers.
Okay, well that's TJ Watt, and we already broke it. So maybe we do 50. Let's spin it again, see if we can get 50 career sacks.
All right, let me spin it.
And so we can combine players too to get that 50 sacks.
And we've got the Giants. Now, is this current or is this all time?
Current, yeah.
Ugh.
Oof, that's gonna be hard.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, he might have like 5. Kayvon Thibodeau. How about Dexter Lawrence? He probably has a few. We need a stack guy. All right, Thibodeau has 7. All right, we're good there. That's 43 left to go. Yikes. Dexter Lawrence has
like 15-ish.
Career, he has 16.5. All right, so we have 23.5. We need 26.5 to go. Right?
Yeah.
How about
Azeez Ojulari, maybe?
Yeah, Azeez Ojulari. I'm sure he has a few. And then him, Leonard Williams after that, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, Azeez has 13.5. All right, so we only have, 10 to go? I'm sure this closes it out. Leonard has to have 10. Yep, all right, we're good. That was actually pretty easy. He had 38.5. We could have started with him.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah. Do you want to go 50 again?
Let's go 50. Let's see if we can do it.
Right.
Using our combined brain.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Rams. Well, this is easy. Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I think that'll probably do it, right? I'm sure he probably has 70?
Probably
70s. Oh, he has 105. Wow,
Oh my gosh.
Well, that he just doubled that. Well, that's easy enough. Huh?
Well, that's boring. Should we try to do one more hard one?
One more. Hopefully, it's a tough
All right, let me do one more hard one. Oh,
the Ravens.
I don't know. It doesn't tell me. Usually it pops up and it tells me, but it's like right in the middle.
I'm gonna say that's the Ravens.
Okay.
All right.
Roquan Smith.
Roquan Smith definitely has some. Didn't they
David
get?
Ojabo probably has 0.
Yeah.
Who did we just sign? Didn't we sign Clowney?
Yeah. Oh, that'll probably do it right there. And then Odafe Owe probably has a few, right?
Yeah, probably like 10.
Career stats. Clowney has 44.5. That's a lot less than I thought he would have.
Same. So with Roquan, what does that make it?
Roquan, I'm sure he probably has a few, doesn't he? Yeah, he has 20, so we beat that pretty easily.
Nice.
All right, we're good. Maybe we can up that next time, but yeah, there we go.
Nice. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see if I can fix it real quick. There we go. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging with us. We are the Blitz and Kick podcast, and thank you to another edition of Pigskin Philosophers. If you haven't been with us super often, we're going to move to an every other week schedule. You'll still hear from our fantasy boys every week, Matt and Jay. Tune in to them every Tuesday, and then we will see you guys in a little bit. Bye, guys.
See ya.